What's up, everyone? Today we have a generator, Generac, with the Tecumseh on it. It's one that's very similar to one I just rebuilt. In fact, there's going to be a couple of these videos, to be honest. We just had a major power outage, so when everyone decided to pull out their generator, they're coming to me. But it seems like so far everyone has restored power the day they bring it to me. Because they usually message me at night because it's freezing and I don't have power, so it's not like I'm going to be able to do anything except for by flashlight. And then they bring it to me. So this one's been sitting here for about a day. I got the power the same time they did. So let's get started. 10 horsepower. Everything seems pretty normal. So, the story behind this one is that they had it running years ago and decided to, they didn't need it, so they put in a storage unit. Power went out, went over to said storage unit, and tried it. Didn't work, now it's on the table. These have a low oil cutoff, which is here, goes in the bottom. You can replace them, they're not too difficult to do that. You just have to tip it over on its side, probably drain the oil first, just to make sure, and probably even the gas. But from the looks of that carb, it's probably going to be carburetor related. Something is interesting is, I don't know if you even have to take the whole generator head off to, oh yeah, you would. Never mind. So I'd say we're going to test for a spark because of that. Those do like to go bad. I feel like the longer oil just sits there stagnant and then they just kind of deteriorate. So I'm going to put a little starting fluid down the carb, and then we'll see if it runs, and if it does, we'll clean the carb and go from there. Do you see this is a little funkery going on here? It's not bad, it's just, I don't know what's going on right there. Usually there's two different types of carbs. One with like a little L that comes off like the side, somewhere around back here. And then the the vent usually just goes to there and just kind of recycles. Everything just goes into the carb and just gets burned. This one goes into the air filter, or the air cleaner housing, probably the air filter too, and then gets sucked up. So this isn't too bad. But anyway, let's go ahead and get it tested and see what's going on. So I always say I check the oil, but I never actually show it. So here's the oil, cleaned it. I didn't screw it down all the way, but it's right above add. Like it probably should have more. So there's not much in here at all. It's maybe an ounce or two. But that should at least give us a little higher amount. And if it still doesn't work, we'll check for spark. And if there's no spark, we'll disconnect the oil sensor and go from there. The oil itself was dark, but it wasn't horrible. Something else I noticed is the fuel was off. I smelled the tank when I first got it. They said they put fresh gas in. It smells fresh, but when I turned it on, the line going to the fuel filter, which the fuel filter is white, and I can obviously see a lot of black in the interior of it where the screen would be, because it's not like a paper filter that's clear. So I think the filter is probably at the very least clogged, or on its way to be clogged here shortly. and the line has a lot of cracks in it. The line going from the filter to the carb, though, is very pliable, so I feel like that one was replaced not too long ago. But I have a drill attached. The trigger is taped down, so if it does make power, we're going to do two things. We're going to check the engine, check to see if it makes power, and then we'll at least have a good base where to figure out what we have to do next. Well, that is obviously running fast. It also seemed like it was running underneath its own power. Let's put the choke on, see what happens. The choke says it's on. Yeah, we at least have a problem with something going on there. But we're gonna take the carb off and clean it anyway, and then we're gonna check the governor, see if it's busted, because that, I want to say that's at least 4,000, 4,500 RPM. That will ruin your power head. So I made a rookie mistake right now. That wasn't free. It's free now. So when something's been sitting for a long time, especially when you see this type of buildup, you're going to want to check your connections to make sure that doesn't happen. Luckily I caught it before I did anything. Still want to test it out one more time just to make sure, but I think we're okay. This is the fuel line I was talking about. You can hopefully see it. It's not doing too well. So I'm going to replace that after we take the carb off. It's not too difficult, just pull it off and over there. Hopefully you can see a filter. Like I said, the line beneath the filter, which actually goes right there, is fine. Well, it appears to be fine. I'm going to double check it. There's also a new plug in there, so that's interesting. I definitely think this has been worked on before, but let's go ahead and take off the carb. I tested it out, still makes power. The speed of the engine seems okay. There's like this weird stuff all over now. I don't know what exactly it is. Seeds of some type. Maybe bugs. I don't think so. Probably seeds. But let's take off that carb. So first things first is you want to take off the fuel line. I'll take off this to make it easier first. So I guess that's second. I don't want to say Tecumsehs are not very popular anymore, but it seems like they're very popular in broken generators. Because after this video, well actually, after I'm done with this one, it will be a different video for you. I'm going to have another one on here, except that one's going to require a little bit different of work. Now, fuel clip, it's not meant to be around much longer. Yeah. Fuel line isn't horrible, so I'm not too worried about that one. We do want to mark the hole though. Some of them only have two. Others have 3. This one's 3. So we're just going to put a little marker on it. Actually, no, it might come off with the ultrasonic cleaner. So let's just remember, at full throttle, it's the one facing the engine. Not the proper way of doing this, but it's a way of doing it. See? Just makes it a lot easier. A wrench is not the easiest thing to have in this area. And half the time you can still have the nut. Okay, let's take this over to the carb station and see what we got. So I made the mistake of tipping it over a little bit before than I thought, and some of that started coming out. So that's not usually good. Now I don't know why I grab it. It's disgusting. There we go. Oh, the jet is coming out pretty easily. There's some friends in there. Ugh. It's half water, what little was in there. You want to refrain from pulling on this just from one area until you get a decent amount. It just stretches it. It's not, it doesn't look bad. It could be reused. What's the other bowl I have? I keep a thicker Tecumseh bowl. My ultrasonic cleaning bowl. Oh yeah, the seat is just caked. It's a plastic emulsion tube. Don't want to damage it, obviously. Let's see. No. There is another gasket that's in there. This is actually a Tecumseh tool. It's a 670377. It's good for putting seats in and taking out these little seals. Okay, good. Sometimes that can be a real treacherous thing to do. That's why this is such a good tool. It makes it a lot harder to damage it. This should be the pilot jet. And the grime is just making it really difficult to come out. Okay. This isn't one that it's like adjustable. It will have, you know, a set jet size in here, so just put it in, or take the entire thing out and clean it. There's no anything else you really have to do. So I'm going to put this in an ultrasonic cleaner. I'm going to charge my air compressor, try to blow the seat out. I have some seats, and we will clean it and see what happens. Okay, got everything done. Looks pretty decent. I mean, yeah, there's still a little bit of staining on there and whatnot. Just kind of washing this up real quick. Floats. That's good. Everything seems pretty decent. Just dry these bits off. This is the fuel that came out of it. Not exactly the freshest. Now, could it run on that? Probably. Should it run on that? No. Will it be a horrible thing if it does? Probably not. But will it be a horrible thing if I left almost 3 gallons of fuel in that tank to then have to go back and set storage units for like another 2 years, and then they go back and it's still not working? That's not right. So, draining it, I'll put some fresh gas in there, maybe like a half a gallon. And then at the end of it, I'm going to turn off the fuel, let the carb drain out, and that should be fine. I don't like that part right there. What's that? Oh, it's like it's getting it. It's touching the end of this. I've had to do this a couple times, but I'm going to take this real lightly on like a file and just kind of wear off this end. Much better. Not touching anymore. That shouldn't be a problem. Let's test it out one more time though. It's fine. Now, let's put this back on. It's going to take some of this whatever off of it. What's happening right there, you just saw, is the needle gets kind of cockeyed in the slot. The float will never actually have that much movement in there, so I'm not too concerned over that. Now the bowl. Sometimes you want to take these and put them to the light and see if you see little pinholes. I do not. So that's good. Emulsion tube. Just gonna put that. Oh yeah, the little gasket's right there too. Just push that all the way in. Till it's in like so. And you're set. There we go. Just blew it out with the air compressor. So with these, we'll look at it here shortly. This flat part goes where it pivots. There we go. And now, I cleaned this out. There is a tiny little hole. Right there. You want to make sure you clean that one too. I mean, obviously these large are on the bottom. That one is equally as important. If not, he'll get surging. Surging on like a lawnmower or even like a snowblower or something. I mean, that's not the end of the world. You can probably still get your job done if you really had to. That's weird. But surging on a generator can cause damage to something that's connected to it. Can damage the actual generator, so we don't want to do that. I replaced the fuel line. I drained all the fuel. I'm going to put the fuel line back on. Put this back on the way it came off, and we're going to test it. Okay, I relocated us to the floor for a couple of reasons. One, the door is to your right, and the exhaust is going to be blowing out that way. Two, excuse me, I had to put another generator on top of the table because I'm going to be working on that directly after this because it needs to be done by tonight. So yeah. What did we do? We rebuilt cleaned the carb, new fuel line, got all that done. We heard a motor run, made sure the throttle was open or was free, put it back together, same position on the plate. So we should be good. I do have my voltmeter connected, and that power or the heat gun has two settings. One, it's 750 watts on the first one and 1500 on the next. I don't suspect this should fluctuate too much with the 750. Hopefully not that much with the 1500. It would be ideal to put like 3000 on there, but 1500 is still a pretty decent amount to at least double check. So in addition to that, I have a socket here. That's going to help us adjust the governor if we need to, either up or down. We're looking for is 61-ish hertz with no load, and then when I put a load on there, it shouldn't go beneath. Well, for this load, I wouldn't want to go anywhere below like 60.5, maybe a little higher. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's see what we have. Running a little lean. I'm going to take out that idle jet and kind of clean it out a little bit more. I just blew through it. Maybe it still has a little bit more junk. We'll see if that cures our problem. See if that made any difference. So what did that teach us? I don't really like how much it dropped, but I don't think it's a carb. Um, I've had to rebuild, well, I did rebuild 3 of these, but I recorded the most recent one. I think that might be part of a problem here. I mean, it's not bad, don't get me wrong. I think I might just tip it up a little bit more. I'll just try that. You know what? Yeah, I'll just try that. If this doesn't work, then we might try drilling out the idle jet just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of fuel. I need a long one. Let's try this again. Okay, so what did this teach us? I think it's doing fine. And it's running a little higher than I would like. I mean, you could go to like 62.5 like we were, and you know, it shouldn't be too bad. And if we did this again, probably would be going down to like 58. So it'd be about, I don't want to say like the 4,000 watt load would probably be around 58 hertz, and that's not too bad. So this could use a little additional, in my opinion, a rebuild, but it is running pretty decent for what it is. It's doing pretty good. The only other thing I would think might be a benefit to do is kind of put a little seafoam down the plug hole, but it kind of, in fact, they might just put some Marvel Mystery Oil down there and do that, and just kind of help break up a little bit of the carbon. I think maybe even the possibility of the valves being a little on the dirty side, but you know, it's nothing bad. I don't think it constitutes rebuilding it. And I messaged the person while I turned you off, like, hey, there's a possibility I might just have to redo the valves. Do you want to do that, or do you want me to sue? I mean, it's running good now. It's not really too much of a problem. And they said, no, this is good. This is our spare one. Just go ahead. This should be fine. If we have any other problems, we'll contact you. Like, okay. So in the future, if it comes back, I mean, I did ask him again, and they still said, no, this is fine. We don't foresee a problem. But if I was going to do anything else, I would take the head off and just kind of look at the valves, kind of lap them over, and put a new head gasket on there. That's not too bad, but they don't want to do that. I mean, it's not too hard of a process, but it is a process, and it is something that's an expense, so they would rather save the expense. Okay, well, if you want to see how that's done, check out my previous video. It's basically the same engine, same generator, just not made by Generac. It's made by Coleman, so it's almost identical. Well, catch you on the next one. Put a thumbs up, put a comment below, definitely subscribe. I will catch you later. If you like seeing other generators come up, let me know. I will keep my eye out. I generally don't do a lot, but I think this might be a little bit more coming, especially considering the weather we've been having recently. So I may start doing more of them. Okay, have a good night. See you in the next video.